I know, I'll leave it. Anyway, it just describes it. And this was day 117 of the lockdown. I didn't do a page every day, but I did quite a few. So it's nice to do the home. And the other one I want to talk about is the one that's done this way. That Peggy Herrick did. She was the founder of Journey Day book. And so she had sold her house in Cedar Key, moved to Gainesville, intending to move 2 months later to Albuquerque, and then the lockdown started. So she didn't move till a year later. So this is Peggy in a mask that someone made for her. Is it one of your masks, Susan? No. And so day 50 of self-quarantine with isolation, alone, some loneliness, but many unexpected gifts. My new dog, Ruthie, is one, as well as several opportunities for fellowship by Zoom, live streams, and on the phone. So, Susan, would you like to go next?
I guess I need the microphone. Hang on, is this Barbara? I need the microphone.
Yeah, of course you do.
I guess it's this. It's like a little close. Let you do it. I can't see what I'm doing. Yeah, I see, but yeah, I just can't do the edge there. You're good. Well, my name is Susan Torgerson James, and I've been a part of Journey Day Book for quite a while too. I was president for about 4 years, and until just before the pandemic began, actually. And I think one of the things one of the good things is that we have this community that we make art together. And that was something that really sustained us during that time. So I was very fortunate for that. But I think there are just so many things that were lost during the time. And I think one of the big things is the fact that there are people that have suffered mentally from the anxiety, the danger, the loss of loved ones, so many things. And I think some people probably don't even realize how they were affected. And that, I think, is something that's going to be going on for quite a while. So this is a page that I did. I do some fabric dyeing, and I happen to have a couple of N95 masks in my house, so I dug that I hadn't used, so I dug those out, and so I wrote making masks for self-protection and to protect others. And this was Wednesday, April 1st, day 18 of home retreat, and I kept writing the day number down for a while, and then I was over that because the days just were piling up so much, and in the beginning we didn't know how long it would last, and that unknowing was a hard part. So but this is just some of the supplies. My son was with me, and he wanted to learn to sew so he could make masks for his friends. So I taught him to sew, and we were sewing masks like crazy. So, and then I'll show this page. This one was done by Mary Fukuyama, and this is her and her wife Jackie, and she has written, I've got the COVID-19 blues. She's a musician. It was novel in the beginning, but now my patience is thinning. I've got the COVID-19 blues. So I'm sure she could do that to music. And this is them wearing their masks. So it was a novelty to draw things like this in the beginning, and then it got old. Okay, so Patty, do you want to
do Jackie?
I can do Jackie's. Yeah. Is this?
I think she's right.
No, Jackie's is that one.
Oh yeah.
this is Mary's partner, Jackie. And so she wrote, I dig holes in my garden and bury my troubles. So I know a lot of people worked on landscaping and gardening. Things were a big activity during that time. So Patty, do you want to talk about yours?
Yeah. Do I need this little fuzzy guy here, this little caterpillar?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so I live in Cedar Key, Florida, and if you have to be in a pandemic, it was a great place to be in a pandemic because it was easy to access nature, and we also I had a place to socialize with my friends where we socialized outside social distancing, and I made 2 new friends in that venue. Also, for me, my daughter was living in her truck and working on an online graduate program and depended on the internet, so she kind of got stuck with us for 5 months, which was great, having her home and watching her work on this online program. She worked very hard at that. Anyway, mine says, this Buddha statue sits patiently in my yard, waiting for whatever comes, reminding me to do the same. The dolphins feeding in the Gulf and the flocks of white pelicans flying overhead remind me to enjoy the beauty of the moment. And so because of the pandemic, I also felt like I had more time to draw and just kind of be calm, and not that there wasn't a lot of worry and great sadness, but there were some positives also. And one of the positives for me was I had time to train on my bicycle, and I rode 70 miles on my 70th birthday, which I would have never done without a pandemic. So that's it for me. Did you need my name? Patty Jett.
And maybe, Patty, do you want to do one other, and then Margaret, maybe you can do 2? Yeah.
Oh.
Maybe you could do either Pamela's or...
Oh, can I do Geri's?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I
We can all this.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has. Sorry. Yeah, it has a wheel. Yeah, good.
Okay.
All
Does
right.
that give you space? Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, Pallija.
Pallija. Okay. So this is by Geri Pallija, and I think it's very appropriate for her because it says, "Water flows over these hands. May I use them skillfully to preserve our precious planet." And that's a quote from, I don't know how to say his name, but anyway. And the reason I wanted to do this one is because she's a nurse, and I think it's very interesting that that's what she focused on, something that was important to her and to all of us at that time. So, and she was part of Journey Daybook also, as am I, and part of our Zoom practice group. So.
So my name is Gibbs, and I did a Journey Daybook adventure in 2019 and didn't officially go through the orientation and everything, but once they started the Zoom, I was all in because I decided I wanted to start drawing and painting again. So I started doing the Zoom, and I've been pretty regular on that. Again, just like others have stated, it was a very difficult time. It was very sad. I live alone, but I had a dog at that time, and that was very helpful to me to have that. And this is actually a drawing that I did Thanksgiving 2020, my wonderful feast of turkey breast stuffing, gravy, cranberry sauce, rolls, peas, and almondine, and white wine. A solitary Thanksgiving symbolizing the year of COVID, grateful for delicious food. So I was fortunate. I have a house, I have and I was thinking of a lot of the people that were less fortunate, and like Susan mentioned, people living together that were fighting in small spaces and that kind of thing. But I had a nice house and a comfortable place. Plus, I had this group every week, which was very, very important to me. And I'm still doing it. We did it today. We had a small group, just 3 of us, but people could come and go. And actually, Mary she's out west right now, Mary Fukuyama, and Jackie. So the one that did that and the one that did the two masks, that couple, they're out in Oregon right now, but they were able to join us. So that's the other benefit of having Zoom. Also, Peggy joins us quite often from Albuquerque. So that's my. And then, whose is this?
Pamela.
Oh, Pamela. Okay. Pamela Berry. COVID-19 pandemic, Gainesville makes against COVID-19 April. Oh, masks. Makers. Oh, COVID-19 pandemic, Gainesville makers against COVID-19. So she was involved with mask making for several people. Let me move this chair so I can. Several groups, including at our church, and I'm sure I probably got one of those masks because I didn't have any. I was late in the mask thing, and I just had to. I hand sewed a couple of masks with some bandanas, but then because I don't have a sewing machine, so they were sewing. A big group of people were sewing masks for people in Gainesville. And Pamela unfortunately died in, when was it, 2021? And so from something else. So this is in memoriam to her. She was a very avid Journey Daybook participant. And this is her sewing machine and her mask. And we just honor her by showing this. We all really miss her. She was a big part of the group. So. I don't know if anybody else wants to say anything about her.
Well, I think Pamela also went to the prison very regularly, and just loved it, and was very.
Say that again.
Pamela also went to the prison project very regularly, and loved being there, and she was a good artist, and really loved helping others learn how to improve their skills. So it was always fun when she was there.
Well, does any one of us here who is not a member of a group have any question? We have like 5 minutes before we go in for the day's proceeding. Does anybody have any question, comment, or anything that you'd like to talk about? Yes.
What were people's roles for the prison system? What were their titles, and what did they do?
Well, we just went in as volunteers. It's quite a to-do to get approved to go into the prison and to be able to take the things we had to take. So we were an unusual group. Most of the volunteer groups in Florida's prisons are church-related. A lot of evangelism goes on. So we and one other group were quite distinct from that. But what really distinguished us was we took in a computer and we took in all these art supplies. And it was kind of a nightmare each time because you were always anxious that you get stopped for something, or you get down there and there was a lockdown and you couldn't get in. But it was worth every struggle getting there. And we went, and 4 to 6 of us would go each time, and the groups that we worked with were 10 to 12 women. Women, many of whom, had committed very serious crimes. But I personally never felt unsafe, and I don't think any of us did. So we did an 8-week course with them once a week, as close as possible to sequentially for 8 weeks, teaching all the aspects of Journey Daybook, including collage and drawing and watercolor, just enough to be able to make a nice journal. And it was wonderful. And the women were so dedicated to doing it and so happy to be here. It was just terrific.
Okay.
When they were done, then we have alumni groups. We went about 20 times a year. It was a lot. Because we did the classes, but then we also did once a month groups with everybody who finished. So it's fun.
Okay, we just round this up now. And the only thing I want you to address, and maybe each and every one of you, is the role or the therapeutic nature of these paintings. What did these paintings represent for you during the pandemic, during the quarantine, during the lockdown? What exactly did it do? Were you venting, or was it more of a connection that you had somebody else to talk to? Or what? Could you just share that? Maybe just roll the mic very quickly, a minute each, about what it actually meant for you. What art, the role art played during that period. So let's just do a minute quickly so that we can get started with the event of today.
Well, for me, Journey Daybook is a contemplative practice. So it's something that I do by myself, or with other people. I call it being by ourselves together. But we always have time at the end to share what we've done if we happen to be with other people, which we would also do at the prison. And for me, it's just being able to see something and record it is so much more fulfilling than taking a picture and thinking it will mean the same thing later. Looking at any of these pages, it just brings me back right to that moment. It's really a way of being very centered in the present and creating a memory that's there forever.
Yeah, I definitely have a lot of the same feelings. It's a meditative practice, and it was very helpful during the pandemic. But it's creating a journal that is recording your feelings and the different things that are going on. And there's definitely some venting, and you can, write about. And by the time you sit and focus on making a page, it's very calming and very helpful. You want to? Sorry.
So for me, similar. It was very meditative and calming, and I get lost in it. I always get lost in it, and that's just escape. It was escape a lot of times for me, and just again the fellowship, like you mentioned, was so important. So that was, and getting back to drawing finally after all these years, many years, was really quite enriching and satisfying.
Okay. Any other person? Okay.
Well, I think that doing art is a process, and so it does a lot for you internally, and for me it's just enjoyable and kind of helped me get through that time and the rest of my life also. So.
Okay. Okay.
To Deborah.